Hi, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to another live cooking class on the Italian Vegan. I am Luca, and obviously I'm going to be your host. And most of you have been here before, so they know me you know me very well. For the new people, just a little bit of housekeeping before we start. This is obviously it's a live Zoom meeting, so it's meant to be interactive. So I'll be cooking and showing you how to prepare these dishes, and at the same time I would like you to chip in and ask some questions if there is something that's not clear, or you got some doubts on how to do particular things. So what I would like you to do at the beginning, just make sure that your microphone is muted. Otherwise there is it makes a lot of noise and it's confusing for everybody. And then if you want to ask a question, you can unmute your microphone and ask the question. And then when when I've answered and you're happy with the answer, then mute yourself again. Also, alternatively, you can type the question in the chat box, and Katerina, which is behind the camera, will read the question to me, and then I will answer it. Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you to all of you, to those of you that have contributed to our charity Buy One Give One. Today, the money that we raised is going to give HIV medication to primary school children in Kenya. Because although the Kenyan state does provide HIV medication, it normally comes with people are ashamed of asking for it, and so there is this charity that does a very good work with school-age children, and it does it in a non-invasive way, so that they can all receive the right medication without having the stigma of approaching the doctor for it. Okay, today we are cooking two really lovely dishes again, as always, and we do a starter, which is a bruschetta with grilled aubergines, and I'll go through the ingredients for that. Obviously, we will need aubergines, of course, so with 2 aubergines, and then for the marinade, we'll need olive oil, vinegar. Normally I would use white wine vinegar, but we just ran out of it, so I've got some cider vinegar, apple cider vinegar that we use instead. We'll need some salt, pepper, a little bit of flat leaf parsley, and some fresh mint. This is fresh just picked from our garden, where it grows. It tends to grow wild. And then you also need some sourdough bread. I mean, I've got this one because obviously we eat generally gluten-free bread. So I use this one, which is a gluten-free, but it's much nicer if you use wheat bread. The consistency of the bruschetta is a lot nicer. Okay, so this is for the aubergines. For the pesto, which is another traditional Italian dish that you probably all know, although the recipes, the ones that you buy in the supermarket, is not normally done to the traditional recipe. It's a very simple recipe. You will need some pine nuts, which will be possibly about a handful. You need fresh basil, about 3 handfuls of these. Then we will need, obviously some salt. We will need some parmesan. Where is the parmesan? Parmesan cheese. Like I'll be using obviously vegan parmesan. This is the brand that I'm using, which is the best I've found so far. There might be some better ones on the market, but I haven't found them yet. If you were not vegan, traditionally. Pesto is made with parmesan and pecorino, a mix of parmesan and pecorino. Parmesan, obviously, you all know. Pecorino is made with sheep's milk, and generally it's got like a stronger and saltier taste than parmesan. And then we will need obviously olive oil for the pesto, because it's a fresh sauce. which is not cooked at all, I would recommend that you get the best ingredients that you can, and just make sure that you get a good quality olive oil. This one, for example, is like an unfiltered olive oil from Italy. It's a little bit difficult to buy properly good olive oil here, because people are not willing to pay the price generally. Because a really good olive oil is very expensive, and it's generally between 12 to 15 pounds a bottle. Because I mean, I've grown up with olives, and my grandmother and granddad used to make their own olive oil. My dad still does, and it's very, very labor intensive. So you need to pick up all the olives. You need to take them to the place where they get crushed. You get the oil, needs to be filtered, and then you got this oil at home. But the whole process, you know, obviously, it's very time consuming, and if you have to pay somebody to do the work for you, it's very expensive. So that's why a proper olive oil is quite, you know, it's quite rare. And if you buy one, this is not, I mean, this is good, but it's not fantastic. But if you buy proper olive oil from Italy, it actually has got a label around the top, like the good wines, that will tell you there's a little code that will tell you exactly, if you go and find it, exactly where the olives are being picked up, where they're being crushed, where they're being bottled. The whole process is actually mapped and recorded. So anyway, this is enough for me babbling on about olive oil. I'm just telling you that, as usual, I don't get tired of telling you this, because Italian cooking is very simple, based on fresh ingredients, but it's only as good as your ingredients. So when you are cooking something like this, has got, you know, very, very few ingredients, make sure that you get the best you can, because it will make a difference to your dish. Okay, so the better the ingredients, the better the end result. Okay, so what we do first, we'll do the marinade for the aubergines, but in the meantime, we can start putting some water to warm up slowly for the pasta. Oh, sorry, the ingredients I forgot to tell you. It's the pasta itself for the pesto. In the email that I sent out, I said if you could find it, the ideal pasta for this dish is trofie, which is a regional pasta of Liguria. But if you can't find it, like for example, I couldn't find it in the supermarket, so I had to go for a second best in a way. So I'm using fusilli from the Cecco. The Cecco is the best make for you know, wheat pasta, and it makes a difference if you use a good quality pasta when you're cooking a dish. If you are gluten free, instead we recommend to use Barilla. Like you could use this one, for example, gluten-free fusilli, and again, it's the best. It's made with rice and corn flour, and it's the best we have found for keeping al dente when you cook. All the gluten-free pasta tends to basically turn to mush when you cook it. This is the best we found that doesn't as much. It still will do a little bit, but not as much. Okay, so let's start with the marinade. So we'll where is my garlic? Where's the garlic? Oh, you tied it up. What is it? Okay. Oh, there it is. There it is. Nice. Okay, so we'll first of all, we will need some garlic for both dishes. So we might as well prepare it to start cleaning it. So I'll be using about three cloves per dish. Okay, so one for the aubergines, and this for the pesto. Now, for the while we're doing this, and we can have a chat while we're all cleaning our garlic. For the pesto in particular, there has been an evolution, you know, from the old times to the modern times. There used to be people used to cook with a lot, prepared pesto with a lot of garlic. Nowadays, it's actually a lot of people prepare pesto with just a little bit of garlic, or some people even doing without. I really like it, so I'll be using 3 cloves of garlic. But you might find in many recipes where it says, just 1 clove or half a clove of garlic. But the good thing about Italian cooking, do try yourself. See, do it as I'm doing it for now, because obviously I'm showing you what to do. But do it again with a different amount of garlic, and see what you prefer. Because at the end of the day, you eating it, so you got to make sure that you like it. Katrina was suggesting to me that the good quality about parsley with garlic is that if you got a strong garlic taste and smell in your mouth, eating a sprig of fresh parsley normally takes that away. So it just it takes away. Sorry, what was that, Katrina? Yeah, so you want stink of garlic. That's a really good summary of it. So always keep some when you're cooking, especially if you're doing raw garlic like we're doing today. Always make sure that you have some parsley at hand. It might not be the best dish to do for a date either. Okay. Okay. Almost there. Another couple. By the way, if you're cooking Italian, one of the best thing you can do, if you have a garden or if you have a balcony, or even if you got like a window in your kitchen where you can grow a few things, is always so much better to grow your own herbs. It's so easy to grow a little bit of parsley, basil, mint especially. I mean, and we have some in the garden. It's self-seeding, so it is actually a bit of a pest in the garden because it grows too much. So it's very easy to grow. But you can put some in a pot as well, and so at least it won't take over your garden. But it makes such a difference to cook with with fresh herbs. You can grow oregano as well, as we call it, or oregano as we call it here in the UK. Thyme, marjoram, all the herbs that I've used for Italian cooking can easily be grown in a herb garden. Or it's even better if you have a little trough, and you can plant 2 or 3 different herbs in it, and it makes it very easy then to pick the one that you want to use for cooking. Okay, the garlic is ready. So 3 for now and 3 for later. What is this? So I'll get my garlic crusher out. And this is the bowl that we're using for the marinade. You could, if you want, if you don't have a garlic crusher, you can just slice it if you want. This makes it crushing. It makes it a little bit easier to eat, and also for the flavor to really get into the marinade and the aubergines. Okay, so that's the garlic. Now get olive oil. Okay. Okay, now we get the little bit of parsley that we have. We just basically want the leaves. So no stems, please. We just pick off the leaves. And the stems, I mean, you can put them in a salad if you're having a salad. I'll keep them actually. And we will just chop them as finely as you can. Okay, so we got a little bit of parsley there. Okay, and now we'll do the same with some. We have good bunch of fresh mint. As you can see, this is a nice, just picked from the garden. We again, the mint stem is really tough, so we definitely don't want that. We just pick off the leaves. It smells so lovely. It's so summery, so fresh. And combined with the marinade, it just brings this to life. So we want a nice couple of, where you want a couple of handfuls of fresh mint. Okay, so a little bit more. Smells nice, doesn't it? Okay, so that's about enough. Okay, I might keep a little bit for decoration. Let me just my bigger knife. So again, we chop this finely, as finely as you can. I am throwing it all over the floor as well, which I'll deal with later, as our kitchen always looks like a bomb that's dropped after I finish cooking. This is my fault, I must admit. But then it's down to me to clean it as well at the end of it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that can go in as well. So we got garlic in there, we got mint, we got a little bit of parsley. Now it's time to add the olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper as well. So we got a little bit of sea salt, black pepper, olive oil and vinegar. We want in there about 8 tablespoons of olive oil. Five, 6, 7, 8. 8 tablespoons of olive oil. And 3 of vinegar. Oops, more.
Did you say pepper, Luca? Luca?
Okay. Then we'll season it with a bit of sea salt. And I use a little bit of black pepper. Teaspoon. About half a teaspoon of black pepper. And again, this is, you know, taste this yourself. Just mix it all well. And give it a taste to see if you like it. If you want to add more of any ingredients, you can. Oh, this is strong. Lovely. Okay, so this is done. Now let's put the water on for the pasta. You should know the drill by now. This is about 5-liter pan, and it filled to about 2/3. Okay, so I'm just going to put it on a, as we've got quite a few things to do, I just want to start warming the water up. So I'm not going to put it on a high flame, just on a low one. And so just water, there's nothing in the water. And now what we will do, I'm just going to put these away for now. Now, what we'll do, we'll turn to our aubergines. So we will chop the aubergines. Let me get my knife. In the meantime, we want to get, if you have a griddle pan, and I put it on, and we want to reach a nice temperature, nice and hot. So we don't really need any olive oil. I just want to put a little bit of olive oil on a piece of kitchen paper, and I just make sure that I just gently oil it. We don't want to fry anything. We just want to make sure that it doesn't stick. You can see there is nothing in the pan. Just a little bit of lubrication. Okay, so having done that, I put it on the. What we need to do, we will need to get it reach a really nice and high temperature, and then we will grill the aubergines on it. Okay, so we will top and tail the aubergines, and now we will slice them lengthwise. We will slice them lengthwise. Now we want them to have quite thin. Okay, so just a few millimeters, few millimeters thin. Okay, so can you see that? So we are, not even a quarter of an inch in metric. Sorry, in imperial. I would say, I don't know, a few millimeters in metric. Oops, this is a bit too thin. And this is it's a dish that can be prepared, and it can be kept in the fridge for, for 2 or 3 days, because it can be eaten cold. It's easy to do the bruschetta, and then use this on top. It doesn't have to be done, on the spot. Yes, it needs to be quite thin because it will, you know, it won't need a lot of cooking time, and we just need to make sure that it's nice and charred. If you make it thick, it would take longer to cook, and also it's more difficult to eat when you're thinking about putting it on the bread. Okay, this is enough as well. So get another slice out of this. Just take some of the off. Okay, that's the one. I'm not sure that it's that one. This one. So we turn it on nice and high. And I carry on doing slicing the second aubergine. It will take a little while to do this because obviously we won't fit all of those onto the griddle pan. We just keep them, make it flat a little bit, make it easier to cut. Okay. Okay, what we do now, when we put them on the griddle pan, we want to make sure that they get nice and charred on both sides. So you get the traditional lines on the aubergines. When you like barbecuing something. Okay, just a little bit at the end. Okay, we're almost there. That's the last bit that is a bit thicker than the others. Okay, all done. We can now start. Yeah, it's getting nice and hot. Now start laying the aubergines on. You can hear it sizzling. Put a small one there. Okay, so I've got this on the highest setting. So we'll be cooking it for about a minute. Make sure they cook to another side. You can feel it because the moment they stick to the pan. Once they're properly cooked, it'll be easy to lift. You can feel there's a resistance there when I try to lift. And if we give it a minute to cook, then they will lift more easily. Make sure I give you another turn. I might, looking at this, I just had another little drop of olive oil to that. It's nice. I needed a little bit more liquid. Okay. So you can see the charred lines on the aubergine. Okay. What I'll do, I'll transfer this onto a plate. So we can start going on with the other preparation while those are really charring away. Okay. So I get down now to the other preparation, which is going to be the pesto. Now, for that, pesto is a fresh sauce and should not be heated up. So for that reason, we normally prepare it on a pestle and mortar instead of a food processor, because just the energy generated by the food processor, it actually it ruins some of the taste of the delicate basil. So we'll be using a pestle and mortar. Okay, that's my mortar. Let me see, while these are getting down, giving them another few seconds. Okay, so the first ingredient for the pesto will be a handful of pine nuts. Okay. So a generous handful, which possibly about 30 to 40 grams. And then we will get our garlic. So I'll get the garlic crusher and crush the garlic in there. So while these are ready, so when the aubergines are ready, I will be dropping them onto the bowl with a marinade, and I put another batch on. So I put another batch of aubergines to cook. This was a little bit thicker than the other, so I left it for a little bit longer. Okay, so that can go. And I'll crush the garlic in. Oh, sorry, one thing I forgot with the garlic. When we're doing pesto, we should remove the heart of the garlic. So we just this, the little bit in the middle, little heart, as it's a little bit stronger, and we want to the taste. The taste is very delicate, so we remove that. You can see it's almost like a little plant growing inside the garlic. So we remove that. And then I put in there to crush and do the same with the others. So we split it in half. And I don't know if you can see it on this one. Let me see. Just a little bit in the middle. Can you see here? It's quite clear in this one. And see, this bit has actually come off. The aubergines are happy there, don't worry. Don't worry, we won't burn them. We'll do the same with this one. I'll finish with these and then we'll turn the aubergines around. Okay, again, remove this little bit in the middle. Now your hands will be lovely and smelling of garlic for the rest of the day or possibly the week. Okay, so let me turn these around. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, then I get on with this. Put the garlic in there. Put the rest of the garlic in here. Okay, and then we start mashing. Carry on mashing until we basically almost like turn it into like a powder. Pine nuts are one of my favorite all-time nuts, and partially I suppose is because I've grown up with them. Obviously, there are lots of pine trees in Italy, and my grandmother used to live in the countryside, and we had lots there. But it's such a labor of love to get these little bits out of a pine cone, because it takes really ages, because you have to wait for the cone to drop to the ground from the tree. Then you have to wait for the cone to open up so they can let you onto the pine nuts shell, and then you have to break the shell to get these little bits out. So actually they are, for what they are, they're very expensive because of all the time they take to to take them out. These are ready, so I'll throw those in there. And I put all the lot on. Okay, we'll carry on. I'll turn this on if it's getting quite hot in here. Or is it too noisy? Too noisy. I'll open the window then. Open the window. I'll turn this down a little bit because it's getting very, very hot in here. Okay, so we carry on with this. You can mix a little bit from left to right, and then change direction from right to left. And carry on mixing it well until all the garlic and the pine nuts are nicely mashed into a pulp. You can see now that the pan is nice and hot, it's taking less time for the aubergines to cook. And while we're taking a break from that, the aubergines that we put in the bowl, we just make sure that they're nice and coated with the marinade. This is what is going to give them the flavor when we put them on the bruschetta. Okay, and we'll carry on doing that as we add more aubergines. You can smell that this is time to turn it. Okay. It's good to have sometimes two things going on at the same time. So because this could be like quite a lengthy process, and it would be boring to sit there waiting for all the aubergines to be cooked. But at least we got something else to get ready while that is going on. In the meantime, while we're doing this, this takes a little bit of time. Any questions? Any questions so far? Do you want me to go through anything that we've done, or are you all okay and following this quite easily? Okay, so if we want to recap, for the aubergines, for the marinade, we put 8 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of vinegar, salt and pepper. We then add a little bit of parsley, just the leaves, chopped finely, and quite a bit, a nice handful of fresh mint. Again, just leaves picked and chopped finely. Okay, so that's the marinade, and we add the salt. Did I say salt and pepper? We add the salt and pepper as well. And for this, while we're doing the charring the aubergines on a griddle pan, as they are done, we'll add them to the marinade. You can see them when they're done by the color, and actually I can smell it as I'm cooking them. They smell a little bit burnt. So as I'm going, I'm doing the other thing. As I smell them burning a little bit, I think, oh, that's ready. I take them out and put them in the marinade, and I put another lot on. As you can see, there's nothing here, so we're not cooking with any. This is very healthy as well. We're not using any fats at all. Choose the best size that can fit in your pan, and carry on. You can see how I get it on here. It's almost done. The first stage of our mixing. I put in here, we put 3 cloves of garlic and a nice handful of pine nuts. Okay, so, and really, this is another one of those sauces that are done pretty much by trial and error. I mean, you put the ingredients in, and then you see if there is anything else that you need to add. You just carry on. You add a bit more of this, a bit more of that. Carry on until you're happy. So we are now ready to start adding the basil. So this is my mortar is a little bit small, so might have to do it in stages. If you got a bigger mortar, then you can put all the basil in. We need about 3 handfuls of basil. This is the first one. When you put your basil in, you add a pinch of salt as well. Makes it easier to mash. Not too much, because then the cheese you're going to add is got salt in it as well. So we don't want to go over the top. Now you see, as I'm doing this, I'm now starting to smell the aubergines, so they are almost ready to turn. While we mash the basil, and when I have enough room in there, I'll add some more. You can see the color of this is absolutely beautiful. Oh, again for the basil, we just want the leaves, none of the stalk. So when you are doing this, you remove the leaves from the stalk. Okay, we'll put them in there. Add a few more. And it's time to turn my aubergines. Look at that, it's a lovely zebra there. See how they're nice and charred. Okay. And I carry on mashing my basil. If you don't have a mortar and pestle and want to do it in a food processor, then better if you have one of those that do pulse. So you want to just do it very, very gently for like a fraction of a second at a time, because you really don't want to ruin the basil by eating it up in the food processor. Sorry. So is anybody doing this live with me? I've write it in the comments box, or you can unmute yourself for a minute and tell me. Anybody? Not today. Come on. Impossible. Nobody's doing this live. This is lovely. This is a beautiful.
I am doing it. It's VJ here.
Healthy
I'm
dish.
doing it live.
2 healthy dishes to do. How can you not be doing this with me? Okay, these are ready again. 1, 2. And 4 again, and I put another lot in. Okay.
Yes, I'm cooking. VG, yes, VG is doing it live as well.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. So we've got at least 2 confirmed.
VG and Carol.
Vijay and Carol. Excellent. And what about Rosalind? Rosalind, are you there? Are you cooking live?
Carol's cooking. Maria, VG is doing live.
Doing it live, Luca.
I want to see some pictures at the end of it, eh?
The sound's not
Add a
working.
bit more basil. Keep adding basil. Actually, let me take it out because this is wet. I don't want it to be wet.
Sue, she's got her hand up, so I'm assuming that that means yes.
Okay, Sue, you're doing it live as well, yeah? I imagine. I'll just try these. I don't want them.
Project is saying yes, just cooking live too.
Okay.
People cooking live.
Excellent.
Catherine Scott, I don't think you have your sound on.
What? Can't you hear me, Catherine? Can you hear me, Catherine?
Some participants have spoken to you, but you are
Yeah,
not hearing it.
Oh, okay. No, we didn't. Let me see. Let me put the volume up just in case it's. No, the volume is up, so we should be hearing it, but we're not for some reason. If we're not hearing you, then write it in the comment box, in the chat box. At least we can read it. Obviously, we haven't heard you. I don't know if it come up on the video later or not. Yeah, it's just nice. It's nice to know that you are doing it along with me. It's pleasant. I think it makes me happier when you're cooking my dishes. I mean, these are really traditional dishes. This is getting a little bit too big for my mortar and pestle. Getting a bit messy. I might move it onto a bowl to combine the rest of the basil. But first of all, I want to, make sure that I mash it quite well in here. Okay, otherwise it would go a bit messy. Oh, time to turn this again. Yeah, it's good for your muscles. That's better than going to the gym, as you can't go to the gym right now. They're all closed. So I'll keep removing the leaves and adding them in. I suppose if I added more all on at the beginning, it would be pretty much done by now. But I haven't because my mortar is quite small. So I have to do what I can. Okay, actually, I can actually fit it all in now, all the remaining basil leaves. Make sure that I get all the stems off. Oh, there we are. So. What about the dish that we made last week? So how many of you can I have a quick poll? Just say yes if you have cooked it, not necessarily live, but doing even after. Has anybody tried it already? Be nice to know how many of you have actually attempted to cook. Yeah, I was saying there's a nice story that Katrina was reminding us. Nives, great, Nives, thank you. And I know that Rosalind did as well, because she sent us some pictures as well. Anybody else? Sue, great, Sue, nice. I hope you enjoyed it. I would say that with a nice story of our San Francisco, when he went for his Duke of Edinburgh expedition with his friends, and obviously they had to bring their own food, and he stood out between his friends because he had a nice pasta and everything. So everybody was quite envious of him because they all had kind of like instant noodles or something like that, and he had a really posh dish. Everybody was after.
Carol said she missed last week as could not log on until halfway through and was all ready to go. Eventbrite is
Okay.
good. Okay.
The Eventbrite, I mean, that's why what I do, Carol, is that every week, about an hour to 2 hours before the event starts, I email everybody with the link. So maybe because last week you didn't book until late, so obviously you might have missed the email with the link. But on Eventbrite, when they send you the email with 10 minutes to go and the other ones, they show you a kind of like there's like a television screen, and there's an arrow in the middle. If you click on that arrow in the middle, that takes you to the Zoom meeting. It's not always very clear, especially people that haven't used it before.
Lucas, sometimes it's
don't know
just
exactly
not,
what to do, but that's
not good,
that's
and
the
they
way
don't.
of,
Lucas, sometimes
that's the
it's
way
not.
of getting on the Zoom meeting. Okay, so the link is already in there,
Yeah.
but for ease of reference for everybody, I email it to everybody an hour, 2 hours before the meeting starts. Okay, so
Yes, sometimes Eventbrite take your link off. I think that's the
Michaela,
problem.
lovely to know. Michaela tried it as well. Anybody?
Jane says I'm cooking hands before sound not working.
Oh, you mean sound not working? Can you hear my sound?
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Let me just check. Let me just go into here. No. Oh yeah. No, it shows that. No.
The sound is fine. One more chat. Maria, I have cooked the aubergine pasta and the courgette pasta, and they were both delicious. Yum yum.
Oh, thank you, Maria. Thank you.
Roasting completely. You can't hear me.
Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah, we can't hear you apparently, but you can hear us. And well, I keep turning the aubergines until they're all done. Okay. Keep cooking them. Oh. Can you say, Katrina? Can you say?
Francesco, our son, takes for granted what we cook at home, and then he went away with his friends and they had to buy their own food. I think he was away for about a week, and he just could not wait to get back. He said, I'm never going to have that sort of food before. Again, I mean, so it will be quite interesting to see what he does when he goes to university, and he's going to have to start cooking for himself, or he's going to maintain that, rhythm every day, or whether he's going to turn to takeaway foods or not.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Carol Marshall.
Okay.
Right, Carol's got, what did she say? Eventbrite sometimes remove your link to stop us sharing, I think. I get email with no link that usually manage to get to you.
Oh, that's strange. That's really strange. Carol. No, thank you for the feedback. We weren't aware of that. Okay, so this is pretty much now all the. I think all the basil is pretty nicely mashed. Let's have a look. Okay, I'll give it another minute. Well, these are getting done. Put these in there. We're almost, you see, what we've been doing our pesto. These are almost all done. So there's only a few left. These are actually thicker ones, so they can go on like the ends of the aubergines. They can go all on at the same time. And there's some little bits there, a little bit thinner. So actually, I can fit them all on. This is going to be the last lot. And all the aubergines are done. Okay, so now the last bit is that we had. I've used, as I said, the vegan parmesan that I showed you before. But if you're not vegan, you can use the real thing, real parmesan. And ideally, it's a mix of parmesan and pecorino. As you can see, all this is measured in handfuls. Okay, so 1 handful of pine nuts, 3 handfuls of basil, and 1 handful of cheese. Okay, so we put this in. And now the secret is to add just enough olive oil to make sure that the whole things bind together. So I'm just gonna have a little bit and then try again in a minute. Okay. Don't use too much olive oil. Now, I'll tell you what, once you've tasted this one, you won't want to buy a jar of pesto from the supermarket again. That's the thing, cooking well, it's a blessing, but at the same time, it's a bit of a curse. Because once you know how things should taste like, you don't really want to use the pre-made stuff because it's just not the same. Simply not the same. Okay, so what we'll do now, I'll have another look, and we'll need to add a little bit more olive oil to it. I can see this. I wanted to give it a little bit of a taste first. I want to mix it all, make sure that it's all mixed together. Because some of the garlic might have stuck to the side of the mortar, so make sure to scrape it all off. Make sure that it's all mixed nicely together. Okay, we'll add a little bit more olive oil. So I try to turn these. You can see my nose is alerting me that these need turning. Actually, there's a couple that are thicker than the others, so I'll leave them in there a little bit longer. The ones in the old skin. Wow, it's almost the consistency. Before the end, I'll add a little bit more of olive oil. What we'll do now, we just give it a bit of a taste. So we'll see if we're happy with the general taste, because before we give it another turn with the pesto, we'll see if we need to add a little bit more cheese, a bit more salt, or whatever we want to add. You can see there's a little bit of garlic tends to stick a little bit. A little bit more olive oil. You need to be quite fluid as a sauce, but not excessively so. And before we use it for the pasta, also we will loosen it a little bit with some of the cooking water. Okay. Now, Caterina. So we have two tasters here. Oh, this is amazing. Yeah, and the garlic and the cheese, everything. This is where the three tastes coming together. A little bit more olive oil, and we give it another turn now with the pesto. Oh, I have to keep an eye on the. Keep an eye on this. So these are burnt. Okay. These are a bit thicker, so I left them a little bit longer. Okay, just give them that another minute while I finish this. This is so satisfying. Actually, this action is so lovely. Okay. Can buy, sorry? Yeah, I mean, if in the supermarket, there is also vegan pesto available if you want to buy. But as I said before, once you taste this one, it'd be a little bit difficult to go back to the to the shop bought ones. The only thing now, this is pretty much ready. The only reason why you might want to carry on a little bit longer is to see if your basil is not properly mashed up completely. You might want to just carry on for another minute. In mine, I noticed that I haven't done an excellent job with some of it, so I'll just give it another go for a while. Now, this could be a lot quicker if you want to do it in a food processor, but I'm showing you the proper way, the long way. Then if you haven't got a lot of time and you want to stick in a food processor, you can. Just make sure when you do that you actually mix it for the shortest possible time. So you have it in there literally for you blitz it for 1 or 2 seconds, no more. Then maybe you can let it rest for a little bit and blitz it again for another 1 or 2 seconds. But don't put it on there and keep it on there for a minute because that will ruin it. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's get a few more of these. So we got a sauce ready. The only thing that might need to add is a little bit of a bit more olive oil later. With these ones, we make sure that we mix them all so they can all get coated with the marinade. No, say Katrina was saying, should the pan be off? No, it should not be off because we'll do the bread on there now. Okay, so we'll do our bruschetta on the griddle pan as well. So that can have the nice lines on it as well. Okay, so make sure that it's all nice and coated. Obviously, we soften up with the oil and vinegar. Can you smell it? The mint is really coming through. You know, yeah. This is all like today in particular, more than any other day. You really get the idea of the fresh herbs, how important they are, and what kind of flavor they give to the dish that you're cooking. Okay, so we'll now go and cut some bread. So we have just some sourdough bread here. Okay, we want a nice couple of slices. Oops. As you can see, I want it quite thick, not excessively thick, but you know, just like that. And that is come a little bit, not quite uniform. Okay, So we get a couple of slices, and we put them on here. We do the same thing we did for the aubergines. Okay. Now, please make sure that your pesto is to your liking. So make sure that you taste it. You know, you should always be tasting what you're cooking. I'm really happy with this. I just want a little bit more olive oil because I want a little bit more fluid. But I don't need to use the pesto anymore. I'll just mix it in. Okay. I'll just make sure that all the ingredients are mixed together nicely. Okay, so what I do while this is being done, I'll turn the water on. I'll move this to the bigger hob because we want now to prepare our pasta. Okay, so that is getting done as well. You can see this is being toasted. Okay. And you grab some serving dish. Excuse me for the noise. So another thing that we want to do for the bread, once the bread is done, we want to have another little clove of garlic. Again, just the one clove will do. Sorry, the bread is nicely smoking. Another minute, ready. So we clean 1 clove of garlic, and we use it to brush the bread with it. Oops. You're not doing it. Okay. So what we do, we cut it as well. Okay, so it's easier to grab and brush against the bread. Okay. Fine. Our bread is nicely done. I'll do another one. And the water is starting to boil. So what we do with the garlic, we just gently brush it against the bread. Obviously, the bread now is toasted, so it's harder. This is boiling. So we brushed the garlic against the bread. We put a little bit of olive oil on top, using a good oil.
Steve.
Okay. Okay.
Is the pasta in the pot?
The pasta is not in the pot yet. So this is just water. What we do now, and you should remember, before we put the pasta in, what do? Salt. Okay. Always put the salt in the cooking water. Right. So put 2 heaped tablespoons of salt. You can see 1 and 2. Make sure it's all nicely dissolved. when it is dissolved, we will add the pasta. Okay. I generally cook about cooking about 300 grams of pasta. I will do it by eye, so pretty much like, you know, a bit more than half the packet. Okay. I'll just give it a turn, and I can carry on paying attention to my bread. This is actually totally a bit too much, a bit burnt, but don't worry. Okay, so this is now what I've done. I have added, then I've just brushed it with garlic and add a little bit of olive oil. I also put a pinch of salt. Okay, and this is now ready to receive the condiment, which is the aubergines. Now we want to make sure when you put these on, you want to make sure that you actually push them in against the bread a bit, because you want the bread to absorb all these lovely juices. Look at that. These are beautiful.
Your lunch is just about ready.
I think that bread we'll have to forget a little bit. It's a little bit burnt, so we'll not be eating that one. But these two are just right. You can also have these as they are, as a starter, without the bread if you like. They're lovely. They really are Moorish. So that's what you want to do. You make sure that you press them all against the bread. Have a little bit on. Okay. Let's turn to this. And I'll turn off. Well, not my griddle pan. And just to finish off, if you want to give a finishing touch. Just a little sprig of mint. Another one.
With a mint on the top, which I haven't got. I'll have to run out to the garden and run up like an idiot.
So that's our starter, and we'll be tasting it in a moment. And okay, what we'll do with the pasta now here, the pasta will take about 10 minutes, so it's been there for a few
I
minutes.
needed my griddle pan, whatever. What happened to that griddle pan I bought that you didn't like?
What we start doing, where is my bowl? Okay, I get a bowl for the pasta. I will transfer the pesto in it.
Yes,
the microphone is still on. Can you hear us?
Mute yourself,
Is there any problem with the sound? Does anybody else? Can anybody else hear me?
Rusty thing on top of it.
Yes.
Yeah, just respond with a yes or no. Just need to know if you can hear me or not.
Oh, my back hurt. Too heavy to lift all those.
Yes, okay. So, Carol, there must be a problem with your connection.
Wait, you got half an hour.
As other people can hear me.
I'm ruined. I didn't expect the phone to be ruined.
You can also hear Carol.
Okay. Maria's saying that she can hear you as well, Carol. So.
Sorry about that.
Just add a little bit more salt to this, just a pinch.
Just having a kitchen crisis, Luca, or two, trying to cook with you.
Okay. And what we
Apologies, everybody.
We just want to loosen this a little bit, because obviously, as you can see, it's very thick. Okay, so I'll just be using a couple of the ladlefuls of cooking water. and just make sure that it gets a little bit looser. A little bit more actually. It's been quite thick. Yes, the cooking water has got the right amount of salt as well, so we don't need to change that as well and add more salt. So it's fine. Okay, this is pretty much about right. We will reserve a little bit of cooking water just in case when we put the pasta in and we mix it all together. If we see there is a bit too thick, we can add some cooking water. Okay, let's have that taste. This is delicious. Okay, so this is ready to receive our pasta once it's drained. And in the meantime, does anybody want to taste this? Katerina doesn't want to. Okay, so she will after when she can do it away from the camera. But I will give it a taste.
Carol, due to my sauce and crosses, right. Due to my Carol, due to my sauce and crisis, this what we added pesto for pasta. So you added the water.
Okay, Carol, because sorry, let me just finish this because I don't want to stick with my mouth full.
Bruschetta's looking good.
I just want to try as we're going on. Just want to see if the pasta is ready or not.
No problem.
I'll
I can put the pasta.
Carol, I haven't forgotten.
Yeah, no problem. The bruschetta's looking good though.
So, Carol, because the sauce is very thick, the one that we prepared in the pesto in the mortar, it's not ready yet. Because the sauce was very thick, we just added some of the cooking water from the pasta to make it looser. You can see now the sauce is a lot looser. Okay, and you can just play by ear really. So you just try, and you see you can when you are twisting it around with a spoon, you can feel it if there is a lot of resistance or not in the sauce. You just want it to be creamy really like this one. Okay, you don't want it to be really where it sticks, almost like if you are grabbing something and it stays on the spoon. Okay, so like this is good, and no problem. And what we'll do is, as I said before, before the pasta is ready. Well, we should always do this when you're cooking pasta. And before you drain the pasta, just reserve some of the cooking water. So I just put it here enough. Yeah, half a mug is normally more than enough. So we just have it there, just in case you need to use it. You might not need to use it. But by the way, when I tasted this, although I make a mess of because I put a whole aubergine in my mouth, it's absolutely delicious. And it should really taste the vinegar and the aubergines in it is absolutely fantastic. So tell me if you've done it. Let me know what you think, and I'll get Katerina to taste it away from the camera. Okay, so she can give me her opinion as well. This bread is completely wasted. Can go in there. What do you think, Katerina? Okay, you wait a minute. We'll wait until the mouthful has gone down. You can tell me what you think.
You can taste all the individual ingredients. That's what's nice about it.
That's very true. It's what Katerina was saying, is that you can taste all the ingredients in there. So the aubergines, the garlic, the vinegar, the mint. It's such a fresh starter as well for the summer. It's so nice. And generally with the pasta, and when you finish the pasta in a pan, you take it out when it's still a little bit hard, because obviously it will carry on cooking in the pan.
But in this case, there won't be any cooking once the pasta is drained. Okay, so we want to make sure that it's cooked properly. There is no hard when we take it out. Okay, so this is probably needs another minute or two. That's fine. 20% more than enough. So, while we're waiting for the pasta to be ready, any questions? Oh, fantastic! Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, I love aubergines. Absolutely adore them. I don't often eat them simply because they take a little bit more preparation than other things. And so it's lovely for me as well to be able to do this for you, because it at least gives me the opportunity to cook something that maybe I wouldn't cook every day. I love it. And it's really nice. It's a really nice thing to have when you have friends around, because you can prepare it beforehand. And it's a dish that is there. You can use smaller bread if you want to have it like a dinner party. If you use French bread, you can have little round pieces like this that maybe.
I was saying my husband's loving the bruschetta.
I'm glad he's enjoying it. Okay, another minute for this. Sorry. Oh, next week we're doing another type of pasta that we adore. We do pasta with broccoli. Okay, and although you might, some of you might think, oh yuck, broccoli, I don't want that, but it's absolutely fantastic. And the one thing that's amazing more than anything else is that all the time that we have Francesco's friends come over for dinner, even when they were young, 7, 8, 9, they all loved it, and they all used to go back and tell their mums how much they love this pasta with broccoli. And these are kids that normally wouldn't even eat that.
Rosalie was saying, forgot to buy the bread, but having them on crackers.
Fantastic, Rosalie. That's what we like. Improvising is great. As long as you enjoy it, that's I'm happy. Okay, this is ready. So get your colander out. Turn this off. And let's drain this. Okay, so we have a sauce here. Just drain the pasta. Pour it all in. And let me get this spoon. I'm trying to do it with a big spoon. See here. You can see we mix it all together. It's a bit smoky now, so yeah, you might get if you come too close, you might get all the steam on the lens. Oh, but this smell making me so hungry. It smells so good. Okay, so if you can see here what it looks like. The only thing I will do, I will add another drop of fresh olive oil on top. All together. You can always add, when you taste it, if you want to add a little bit more parmesan, you can. Generally, the parmesan is already in there, so you shouldn't need to. But if you want, you can always have some available, and if you want to add some, you can do it. Okay, so that's ready to be served. Let me get a serving dish. And Katrina, you might need to come in front of the camera for this.
Okay. Not complaining.
Okay, that's one.
there's two. Okay. You want to come and do the tasting?
Do the best bit. Okay.
Okay.
So this is what it looks like.
So let's see the. I have to give myself a vote here. Okay, have I been good or not?
Spot on.
What do you think, eh?
It's spot on. It really
This
is
is lovely.
delicious.
It's
Much
really
better
lovely.
than the jar ones, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, it's lovely. Really, really nice.
And as I said before, experiment with the garlic and see, you know, if you like more or less garlic. I like it like this, so with about 3 cloves of garlic, because I want the flavor to come through when I'm eating this. But if you're not keen on garlic, try with a bit less.
I think the nice thing about this, when you're comparing it to the jar one, this is a lot creamier, and you can taste the basil. It's really strong.
Yeah, I should possibly. I said some of it is not. It hasn't been completely mashed, so I should have carried on for another few minutes.
Lovely.
But it doesn't affect the taste.
Still nice. I'm going to go behind the camera.
As you can see, I don't normally do this, but I can't stop eating it. So, have you got any questions that I can answer before we go?
No
I'm still experimenting and trying with some desserts, some vegan.
Oh, Natalia has entered the waiting room. Oh no.
Okay.
Natalia.
Natalia, you here? I'm sorry, but you're here a little bit late now. We're just about eating a dish, so we are at the end. At the end of the event.
Slim? How do you say so slim?
How do I stay so slim? Oh, that's nice. Nice of you to say. Who's that? What's that?
That is from Catherine.
Catherine, how do I stay so slim? I actually, since lockdown, I've lost about 8 kilos since Christmas. Since lockdown, I made a commitment with myself to walk, crawl, or run the length of a marathon every week. So what I'm doing is that every day I either walk about an hour or I go for a run. So I make sure that I got that at the end of the week. I got to make sure that I've done my 42 kilometers, and that is basically uses about 4,000 calories, which is equivalent to 2 days food. So with that kind of exercise, you can pretty much eat what you want, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay, I've got Carol tasting great, pasta's lovely. We'll put pics on Facebook.
Fantastic.
And then she said, I can't get the word, the explanation. I think you meant helped. Sorry if upset anyone. Pasta's beautiful too. I don't know what that meant.
Sorry, I don't know, what was that?
Yummy, Rosaline. Well done from Catherine. Wow, well done, Rosaline.
Sorry, it was meant to be expletive when I haven't put the sauce.
Sorry,
Not
I don't know what was
explanation.
that that said if you upset anyone. There's nobody got upset. If you are that's the reason why we do these.
Carol.
Carol, that's the reason why we do these Zoom meetings, so that you can ask questions. So the more the merrier. And if there is if at any time you got any criticism, then let me know, because sometimes I'm on the other side. I don't know if I do anything wrong, but if I can do anything to improve what I'm doing, I'm happy. Right,
Vijay, I have 5 hungry people here, and the fresh basil pesto is driving them crazy. I'd like to eat now. Thank you very much. Enjoyed the session very much. Carol, thank you, Luca. Really enjoyed watching you every week.
Oh, thank you very much, Carol. That means a lot. That means a lot, and it's making me really happy to be able to share this with you. It's not just, obviously you're coming, you're getting something, you get. You get to see the dishes that we prepare, but it means a lot for me actually to do this and being able to share it with somebody every week.
And
What a question.
Yes, Catherine, it was great as usual. Maria, I will definitely cook this. Can't wait to do so.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you, Catherine.
Maria.
Thanks, Maria, and thanks everybody else. Thank you for everybody that tried this and cooked along with me.
Natalia. Okay,
Natalia, I'm really sorry if you missed it, but
many thanks. That's from Natalia. Both dishes look very tasty. I will cook them tonight for my husband for dinner.
There you go.
Oh, fantastic! I will I will try see if I can actually post the video today. If anybody wants to try it tonight, I'll see if I can. If Zoom has the video ready for me quickly, I might be able to post it before this evening. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, again, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.